Tennessee gets the win 42-7 over Indiana State, so the Vols improve to 2-0. With Jimmy Himes, I'm Josh Ward. And Jimmy, Tennessee playing a couple of games in 5 days here. What stood out to you watching Tennessee get the win, kind of fighting all the way through there against Indiana State?
Well, a couple of things. Ty Chandler running the opening kickoff back 91 yards, the first time he touches the ball on a kickoff return in his career. That was pretty impressive. I thought that John Kelly had a nice game. I think he had 80 rushing, 60 receiving. I thought Quentin Dormady started the game really sharp. He didn't play as well in the second half, but he had a really good first half. In the defense, which was, well, it was awful against Georgia Tech, but they gave up 215 yards. They also held Indiana State 0 for 11 on third down conversions. And I know that's not a real good offensive team, but still, if you hold a team 0 for 11 on third down conversions, that's pretty good.
After really struggling on third downs against Georgia Tech on Monday night.
Yeah, they sure did. Against Georgia Tech converted a lot of them, and a lot of the Georgia Tech conversions were on short yardage. Well, Indiana State had some short yardage ones too, but they were 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2 a couple times, and Tennessee was able to stop them. And so that was a good sign for this defense heading forward. Again, I understand the level of competition, but I thought it was a good defensive performance.
I would like to see him get the football more, but Marquez Callaway makes another big play, and that's something that Tennessee's offense is going to continue to look for with Jawan Jennings being out, and they're just always going to look for playmakers. Marquez is a guy that he's going to be the first name in the passing game probably that we mention in that regard.
Yeah, I think so. I think he has 5 catches this year, 3 for touchdowns. That's a pretty good ratio. If he can keep that up, that'll be pretty good. I thought Brandon Johnson came through. He made some nice catches, and I think he's a guy you're looking for somebody else. I feel confident in Callaway. But I think you're looking for somebody else to step forward with Jennings out. Brandon Johnson took that step today. We'll see if he can carry it forward going against Florida. Yeah,
and played in the slot with others being out. Josh Smith, Tyler Bird, Latrell Williams all out with injuries. And we saw both quarterbacks, Quentin Dormady and Jarrett Garantano. What stood out in seeing the performances from Dormady in his second start and Garantano his debut at Tennessee?
Well, Dormady, I liked his first half. I thought he was really sharp. The second half made a really bad throw and an interception, which he acknowledged. And he also had a strip fumble that occurred in the pocket. He's got to do a better job of protecting the ball there. Garantano came in. He started out 1 for 5, didn't look very sharp. He's got a good arm now, but he threw a couple of balls that were a little bit iffy. I think he's got pretty good wheels on him as well. He just didn't look like a quarterback that was quite ready to go, but he's young. And I certainly wouldn't have any indictment against him based on his play today, but I didn't think he played all that well.
And then a concern that I have coming out, which was already there, would be the depth on the defensive line for Tennessee. They still, now getting Shy Tuttle back is very important for Tennessee's defensive line moving forward, so that would actually be a positive. But do they have enough around those guys at defensive tackle? How about at defensive end? I thought we might see more of the freshman defensive linemen like DeAndre Johnson, who we actually did see at the end of the game, and he had a sack and a forced fumble, so maybe that's a positive moving forward. But Johnson, Matthew Butler, I don't know that Tennessee's ready to count on them yet as they get ready for Florida in a few days.
Well, I agree with that, and if you don't play them a whole lot of snaps against Indiana State, are you going to play them a lot at Florida?
It's unlikely.
So I think you're looking at probably 3 defensive ends getting almost all the snaps, just a handful of tackles. Now, Tuttle, they played, I think they wanted to knock off some of the rust, which was probably needed because he's been out for such a long time.
And by the way, Shy said that he was actually told by coaches a couple of weeks ago that he would not play in the opener. So it was known behind the scenes that he wouldn't play against Georgia Tech. So the plan was for Indiana State to be his debut.
Well, I think that has to do with the cut blocking from Georgia Tech. They were trying to protect him with the knee injuries that he has had. So, but I think, now actually he looked a lot bigger to me. He looked like he's gained some weight since last year. Maybe sitting out a while has put on some pounds, but certainly they need him to get some snaps at Florida. Is that 20 or 30? I don't know, but they need him to be ready to play. Kendall Vickers said tonight, look, I'll play as many snaps as they want me to play, but you don't want him out there for a whole ton of snaps. This is a long season, and so you've got to pick and choose your time to rest a guy like Kendall Vickers.
Yeah, you're right. Tennessee's getting ready for its first SEC game. It's at Florida. Jimmy, anything else to add as Tennessee gets ready for what will be a huge game down in Gainesville?
Well, just I think the offense has to play better than it did today. I was a little disappointed in that. I thought they would be a little bit sharper on offense. I didn't think the offensive line played that well. I thought there were too many short gains or negative plays in the run game against Indiana State. But other than that, we'll see. And some of the players were asked, hey, what do you remember about that game 2 years ago at Florida? And they were like, we're trying to put that behind us. But one of them said, yeah, that does light a fire on us. We'll be ready for practice this week, getting ready to play Florida, provided they actually are able to play that game.
There are questions.
So there are questions. And an athletic department official had told me, a few days ago, wait till after the Indiana State game. We'll have our conversation to see where things are. You never know about Hurricane Irma, the one that's following after that. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully they'll be able to play that game in Gainesville.
So there are questions there and questions after the game, and a lot to discuss between now and Tennessee's game against Florida. Find coverage online, sportsradio WNML.com, on the WNML app, as well as FM 99.1 and AM 990. For Jimmy Himes, I'm Josh Ward. Thanks for being with us.